Welcome everyone to the Broker with the Hat podcast, Courtier avec le chapeau. Bienvenue. I'm Peter Bowering, Sutton Group Centre West, NDG Westmount. Today's topic, I would like to talk about the process of buying a property. I meet so many of my clients at open houses, and some of them are experienced buyers, and some are just getting into the market for the first time, and some are just wandering in, just literally for the first time thinking about buying a property. I always tell them it's never too late to start. They often tell me, I don't want to bother you, we're just starting, and we're just starting to look. Well, that actually reminds me of myself back in 2001 when I was looking for a property. I got way into it. I was doing research for a year, learning the market so that I would know what was a good deal when it came up. And I was very happy to work with a broker actually from Group Sutton Centre West. And she was invaluable in helping us find an amazing deal here in NDG back in the day. So I always tell my clients it's never too early to get involved. And what I like to do with brand new clients who are just thinking about getting involved, I like to say, okay, let's say I put a gun to your head and you have to buy a property tomorrow. Well, let's take a look. What's on the market? What's your price range? How much property is your money going to buy? Let's do that right away. And we can pick out some nice ones, good examples of what you might expect to be able to find. And we take a look. And that gives us a base to work from, to move forward so that maybe in another 3 months you do the exercise again, and then in another 3 months you do the exercise again. And that gives you a look at the market because it's a moving and shifting thing. So, we see how the prices might be going up, might be going down, different conditions happening, and that affects what your money can buy. So I have clients that I work with for 2 weeks. I have clients I work with for 8 months. I've had clients I worked with for several years until they were ready to find the financing and the life experience and put them in a place where they were ready to buy, and then we were ready to buy. So some of the things that I always tell my clients as well is that, talking to a mortgage professional is the best thing that you can do. Getting a pre-approval, yes, those can last for 3 months or 6 months at a time. But just talking to one to find out, do you have the resources to buy the property you want? And if you don't, what kind of plan can you put in place to get yourself to that point where you'll be comfortably buying a property? I have fantastic contacts in the mortgage world at almost all the major banks. And I always say that it's good to talk to a mortgage professional because they work like I do 24/7. If something happens on a Sunday night with an offer and we need to talk about our offer and increase something or get a different delivery or some kind of detail, you can usually reach these mortgage professionals on a Sunday night in an emergency case because they're there. The people at the bank, God bless them, they're working there from 10 until 4. They're doing what they can, but it's a limited scope. Whereas the mortgage professionals who I work with, that's all they do is mortgages, and they're kicking ass and taking names and getting stuff done, and I really appreciate that. So it is great to talk to a mortgage professional. And then, like I say, we take a look at the market, we see what it's doing. Something that I can do for you as a broker is to set up a portal with your criteria. And once we set up the criteria, you get a flood of properties that fit it. And then after that, and chances are when we start looking, you might have already seen a lot of these, and that's fine. But after that, as new properties come up, you and I will get an email notice within 15 minutes of it coming on Santaris, and that way we can stay on top of things. And sometimes it'll be something will come up on a 2 o'clock in the afternoon on a Monday, and maybe we can go see it that night or the next day. And sometimes that can help us in a multiple offer situation. So setting up the portal, that can be a useful thing. But realistically, finding the new property is not where I am most useful, because of the online searching that everyone is able to do. If you're searching, every 4 hours, you're going to see all the properties that I see. Hopefully, what I can bring to the table is, like, if we get serious about a property, then we'll do, okay, let's get serious here, and now I'm going to do market research, or comparative market analysis, also known in our lingo as a CMA, on that property to see what is the true value of this property. Because what it's listed for is not necessarily its value, and what other people are willing to pay for it is not necessarily its value either. The value to you is what you are willing to pay for a certain property and to be happy to be the owner at that price. So that's something that that I will do for you once, like I said, once we target a property, give you the history of the property, previous sales, and also the market analysis, so that we will determine what we think is the true value of the property, and then we'll make offers and proceed accordingly. I also have a lot of clients who are in the initial stages, and they're saying, well, gosh, we're just starting, so I don't want to bother you and I don't want to visit. Stop. I love visiting properties. That's why I'm in this business. I love architecture. I love design. I love houses. I love neighborhoods. This is why I do this, and I love visiting. And so it's not just to be fun for me to go visit places. It's an integral part of learning what the market is showing you. It's one thing to look at photos. It's another thing to see it in person. And once we visit 3 or 4 or 5 places, you will develop a shorthand from being able to see it in a photo, and then being able to see it in real life. In some cases, there are terrible photos of properties, and I can't believe some of the photos that I see people put up. And then there's sometimes where they're incredibly beautiful photos that makes a 4x6 bathroom look like a conference room, and chances are it's not that big. I don't know why brokers do that. It just sets up disappointment when you go to visit it. It's just kind of crazy, but that's okay. So, if that's the way they want to do it, that's perfectly fine. Whenever I do a listing, I take all the photos myself. I was a graphic design professional. My father was a professional photographer, and I like taking photos that are realistic, so that when people come in, it looks like the photos. But that's not always the case, and so seeing a property that looks nice online, and then we go visit it, you will develop a shorthand and be able to see shortcuts that the next time you see something, go, oh, I remember, yeah, there was a photo like that, and gosh, it looked terrible in person. Or I remember a photo like that. That's really bad lighting. It actually might be a lot nicer when we get there. So it's a great tool to have for yourselves to let's go visit, and let's get that shorthand and really get a sense of a more realistic view of what something looks like online and what it might look like in person. So those are some of the things that I like to talk about with my clients concerning the buying process. We'll get into some other topics like negotiating and multiple offers and things like that. But for the time being, thanks for listening. If you have any questions, leave them behind, or you can contact me in various ways. I'll be happy to try to answer your questions. And we'll see you next time. Thanks so much.